Will you marry me?
Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
Yum, yum, yum.
Please.
That is so good.
Wow.
Well, hello, the new hosts of the Canadian Baking Show.
Yay!
And I see you're following the wonderful tradition that they have both in Canada and England of having comedians host. So I love it. What is it, Alan, about comedy and cake that goes so well together?
Well, they both start with C, so we got to start there. It's something about just sharing a moment, sharing an experience with somebody, and I think that kind of crosses lines of both of those two things, because that's what it is. Baking is about sharing a fun moment with a group of people, and I feel like comedy has the similar kind of vibe.
You're right. And there's something like warm about it. I mean, it's warm. Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet. Now, Anne, when you worked up at the film center in the summertime making the show, it was in secret. So you've been sitting on it until now.
Yes, and it's been so hard.
Have people asked you and you've had to rebuff them?
Well, the thing is, no one's asking about who wins, because I don't think people want to know that. I think people want to go on that journey for themselves. And I think for a lot of my family and friends anyways, they knew that I got the gig. They just don't know the details of it. And even if they asked, obviously I wouldn't say anything, but no one has asked at all. Everyone is just like, we're excited to see you, but we also want to see the cakes. I come in secondary to the bakes, and that is how it should be.
That's right. Now, were either of you, I don't imagine you're bakers, but did you know just how very diabolical it is to bake? Alan?
Yes.
I knew there were some things that I didn't know, but I didn't understand that there was like taking temperature of the room and the moisture and all that extra stuff that you have to kind of implement when you have your bake times. I had no clue. I was like, no, what you get from the internet is what you got to do, and you do it. And if it's wrong, it's on you. But it's like, I figured all that out from watching people in the tent, and I got way more kind of like respect. I already had a lot of like deep reverence for like what they do, but even more now.
It's surreal. It really is. I feel like I'm in a Salvador Dali painting.
In a year like no other.
Baking has been a touchstone during this pandemic, like the most comforting thing in my life.
It's insane. I mean, you can't make meringue half the year in Canada. So, Now, Anne, did it inspire you to bake? Because I imagine you spend most of your time in theaters.
I do. And, that whole idea of baking being difficult is precisely why I've managed to stay away from it for as long as I have. But because, excuse me while I just grab, this is a little gift we got from wonderful Bruno. He gifted us with his recipe, his cookbook. And I actually tried to make a cheesecake recipe of his. And in his instructions, it's not supposed to take more than 2 hours all in with bake time included, but it took me about 6 hours because that's how ineffective I am as a baker. But it turned out so delicious. So I go steady but slow as a baker.
That's nutty. That is really nutty. I love it. And what about you, Alan?
I used to bake. I used to bake like back because I'm the youngest of 3 children, so I had to kind of amuse myself. So when we got a magic bullet, I would just be like, it's 2:00 in the morning. I'm gonna make some like strawberry or blueberry muffins or anything like that, and I would just randomly make these things. Or even I would do some weird stuff too, where I would try to make like old cookies into new cookies. So I'm like, these are my favorite cookies, and I'm gonna crumble them up and make a batter with it and make a super cookie. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. I do a lot less of that now. I'm more into the eating portion of desserts. That's what I like to do. Yeah. So I got real good at that. I'm real good at eating desserts.
This is what concerns me. If I was ever around that place, I'm an addict for sugar. So I have to watch it, right? So it would just ruin my month to be there, because I know it would take me down a dark path.
Temptation was all around. It was all around us all the time.
Oh my goodness.
I have been dreaming of being here for years.
To a very different kind of bubble.
It's a happy place where you just bake.
I saw the tent and I didn't cry, but I could have cried.
Here they'll compete at the thing they love the most.
When I bake, I want you to feel like you've been given a hug after you take a bite.
I'm so excited to get inside that tent and start baking.
It's gonna smell so good in the tent.
Over 24 challenging new bakes.
Yes, it is scary.
There will be triumphs.
That's delicious.
And tears.
It didn't go quite as planned. That's okay.
And there was one really lovely moment where one of the contestants didn't have a good bake and you rushed in to help. And I've never seen that on the shows before.
You know, it was just human. It was just the most human reaction, right? When you see someone struggling, when you see someone upset, the first thing you want to do is go to them and see how you can help them in any way. And I'm sure moments like that have happened in other baking shows because it's such a high stress situation. And what these bakers are doing is so difficult and it's so stressful. That one just happened to make it because I don't know, maybe the editors couldn't cut out all of the times where I was crying on the show. Because I think I cried at every single episode that we recorded because you really do feel for all of these individual bakers and you know that they're humans and you meet them and they're all so wonderful and kind and charming and lovely that there was a real connection really fast. And, you know, the show really showcases the best in people when they work together. And when you see a baker struggling, if it's not me, then it's someone else, like it's another baker. Everyone was so in the spirit to help someone else out. And that's just one of the best things about the show is it goes to show you when we can come together, we can overcome a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, you know, that now you say that obviously, I mean, it's true, like overall, but at the end when they do the, you know, you're the star baker and you have to go home, there's genuine emotion there. They cheer for the one who won and they, you know, get sad for the one who didn't win. So yeah, I can see that you really put your chemistry together.
Yeah,
fast.
I absolutely cried. Anytime I had to say the bad news, absolutely cried. And bless the wonderful, wonderful editors and everyone in production who was like, let's not show her crying all the time. Because ask Alan, I cried so much.
It's hard not to. It's like saying goodbye to like a family member, a relative. You just have to be like, I can't hang out with you anymore, but that doesn't make sense. I want you to be here. Can you just bake in the corner and stick around? Can we have that? Like, you know, make some new rules, some amendments.
So tell me something. I mean, pandemic and everything. How did it work? Like, where did people stay?
Well, for the bakers, here's the tea. They basically stayed in a hotel for the entire time that they were there, isolated, and because they had to bubble in terms of just to keep everybody safe. So that was another reason why emotions were higher, perhaps, because the bakers had to really sacrifice a lot to come and do the show. And as for us, the way it kind of broke down on set was everyone was assigned to their zones and you couldn't really go to any zone that wasn't your own. And me, Alan, and the bakers and Bruno and Kyla, the judges, were the only ones on set at any time that were allowed to not wear a mask. So anytime that we were on camera is when we were allowed to take our masks off. But otherwise, every single person there had a mask and their PPE, obviously kept social distancing, but it felt, even though you could see COVID, you could see sort of the ramifications of shooting in the middle of a pandemic, it never felt like, oh, I feel unsafe. This isn't a safe environment, because everyone was so committed to keeping the bakers and us safe, basically, because if anyone's going to catch COVID on a set, it's the ones who have to not wear a mask. So everyone really worked hard as a team to make sure that everyone was safe.
How interesting. That's really amazing. Now, Alan, do you think you're ready for this next level of not just fame for being on something, but for being on a baking show? Everybody loves them. Do you feel like a swell is going to be coming?
I'm excited. Me and my dad, we're pitching some ideas together to get a TV show so I can get that Emmy nom. So trying to get that Dan Levy route. So me and my dad are real excited for it. No, it's pretty cool. The fans are so amazing, and they're so supportive, and there's so much loving comments that pop up. So I'm excited to be their conduit, their mouthpiece in the tent, and hopefully for some years to come.
That's so nice. And my final question to the two of you is, you obviously have chemistry. You work together, I believe, at Second City. So tell me about taking it to this new arena, so to speak.
For me personally, it was so awesome to have Alan there because we are friends, are friends. We're friends from comedy, and I've worked with him before. I know what it's like, and to have someone there who knows you very well as well is very comforting, because it's a very intimidating position to be the host. Everyone's looking at you all the time, and that's not a new thing for a comedian. For comedians, we love it, but it's a different arena because it's not comedy. It's not what we're used to. So it was so lovely to have Alan there to gain energy from. And also in those times when you're like, oh, I don't know if I've got it today. Alan was right there. So it took a lot of the pressure off of me to not feel like I have to be perfect every single moment, though I am perfect all the time. But it's so nice to have someone that that you trust is as awesome as they are,
and committed as you are.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, and Alan, step in.
Yeah, it's amazing because it's like within improv and sketch, this notion of like, I got your back, and it's this pat that you'd say that I got you while we're out there. And from day one when I stepped on that set, I felt like Anne had my back, and it was such an amazing feeling, just because once again, it's very intimidating to be out there, and when you see all that, what's going on, and the importance of what you're doing. So when you have somebody as like strong and as supportive as Anne right by your side, you feel like you can take on the entire world. And every day was just like so much fun to just hang out with her and crack jokes, and she has very similar comedy styles to me, so it was so much fun to get into like the our fun little bits while we're off to the side, so that was great.
Now you're just showing off.
And shared moments.
Go, 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 go. It's down, it's down, it's down.
In the end,
I'm in the tent, right? Life is good.
I'll help.
Thank you.
Yes.
only one baker
Icing sugar covers a multitude of sins.
will be the next winner of the Great Canadian Baking Show.
We're supposed to have 12, right? Not 14.
12.
Okay, because I ate one.
Oops. Thank you so much, you guys. I've only seen one episode, but I'm looking forward to the rest so hard. And I'm going to be looking for you crying.
Honestly, I don't know. They didn't show too much of it. And I told all my friends, I was like, this is going to be very embarrassing for me. I cried every time. And I'm so like, phew, I dodged a bullet. Just know, you know in your heart, because I told you, I cried every episode.
Yeah. Can confirm.
This has been so much fun. Hard to get, but fun. Thank you.
Thank
you so
Anne.
much.
An all new season.
2 very new hosts.
And 10 new bakers from all across the country who are all outstanding in their field.
Literally, they're outstanding in a field. Hi, bakers.
Welcome to season 4 of the Great Canadian Baking Show.